Welcome to Festpod, the unofficial download festival guide. I'm Neil Wilkinson. This is the place for news and rumours about the festival, advice for going, and where you can have your say too. So now let's welcome my fellow host. It's Lee Ellingham. Hello.
The last 3 weeks since download have been really, really dull.
Have they?
I'm well and truly still got festival blues.
Oh no!
Especially when you see other festivals in Europe and in the UK going ahead so smoothly and everyone enjoying themselves. I'm getting a bit of FOMO.
Yeah. You know, I know what you mean. It took me a little while to get over my download blues, and I did sort of shut myself off for a little bit, because you come home and it's all like, oh, it's finished now, all my friends have gone home and the music's finished and I feel a bit shit. So I understand, absolutely. Find us on the socials by looking for Festpod. Go to festpod.co.uk. Find us on YouTube as well, so give us a like or a comment if you're listening to us on there. So let's get started with festival news. Yes, the one reason that we come together, Download Festival, it has happened. So now all we can do, until we have any more news really about the future one, is reflect on the one that's just gone by, Download 2022. I did say that I think it's going to take me a little while to collect my thoughts about my feelings on Download 22, but I do think that I loved it. I do think I loved it. I don't know what was it was just weird being back. I think that's all it was.
No, I totally agree. There was sort of all the changes as well. It didn't quite feel like the normal downloads. Obviously, it wasn't. We're still in a COVID world, and with all the changes they made to the festival, obviously with the village being on hard standing. I loved it. I thought it was amazing, but it did have a bit of a different feel to it. I do agree.
Yeah, it was because so much time had passed between 2019. Do you know what? It feels like a lot longer actually between 19 and 22, because we've gone through so much shit collectively since then. I guess it just feels like a lifetime since I've been, to be honest, the atmosphere seemed the same. It didn't seem any different to how a download normally feels. I think it was me. I think it was me that was just a bit sort of feeling a bit weird, maybe. I don't know.
No, I do know what you mean to a degree. Like it was download. The atmosphere was there. It was an absolute buzz almost every night, but there was something slightly different, and maybe it was just the layout of the village that, because we weren't used to it, it's like this yeah, it is download, there is music, there is all the normal people here, but it did just feel a little bit different, and I don't think it was different in a bad way, but there's just a different feel.
If we had gone to download this year and it was the same layout as, let's say, 2018, you'd got the village up on the grass, the big village with all the stands there and all the usual marketplace type people, and the sunshine and the dry weather, and you've got all the arena in the same place, all the stages exactly as you would expect it to be. Would it have, if it was the same, if it was like that this year, would it have made a difference, do you think?
I think it would. I think people would have enjoyed the download that we all know, like you say, on the grass with all the stalls, obviously either side of each other, going down, almost downside. It was almost beside the track, or where the track usually is. The Dog 2 stage and the side splitter stage inside tents instead of open air like they were.
Yeah.
I thought it was brilliant. I thought what they had done was great in the village. But like we said while we were there, the acoustics of both those stages, there's just a nitpick on those a little bit, was that the noise that was coming from the stages was reverberating off all the containers.
Yeah.
And even when they did the podcasts, and even I think I saw a couple of videos where there was a couple of complaints about even when they did the DJ nights up until 3 o'clock, they turned the music down so much that it was barely hearable.
Yeah,
you could barely hear it. But it's a lesson learned. This is the first time they've ever done that, and I guarantee next year when you go, there will be slightly different. There will be slight changes to make your experience a lot better.
Yeah, it is different every year, slightly, isn't it? There's always something that you think, oh, that's different, and it takes you a while to get used to it. So I think because there were so many new changes this year, it just took a while to get used to, maybe. But yeah, I mean, it was great to be back in RIP. Oh my God. Compared to 2019, when it was pissing down, it was muddy, and we were in that shitty field. Oh God. Yeah,
I honestly, first off, I think we should thank Trish Rayner for allowing us to camp with her and with all the people that we met in that nice little patch of grass in RIP. But yeah, I don't think I'll ever be doing general camping ever again.
No,
I felt safer.
Yeah,
you've not got people walking past your tent, tripping over your guy ropes and making loads of noise until 3 a.m. It just felt a lot safer, a lot calmer. I think we were all in the same boat, that we've all paid that much more to have that little bit of peace of mind.
Do you know what? You said something there. I think you're absolutely spot on. You feel safe in RIP. Whether you actually are or not is another question, but you feel safe.
Yeah, totally. I mean, the organisation of where people are supposed to be camping as well means you've always got space. Whether it be, again, at the front of our tent, obviously we were able to have a huge, barbecuing area with everyone around us.
Yeah, we were. Yeah.
And the atmosphere with everyone was so chilled. It was so relaxing. It's not like you're on guard.
Yeah.
With some people that again, they want to have a party. People are pissed walking through your campsite and obviously wanting to have fun their own way, but it's not always the same way that you want to enjoy the fun. And I think who we were camped with, obviously in RIP, we managed to get that balance of this is the way we want to enjoy ourselves when we're not in the arena. And it was really, really nice. And I truly am thankful for Trish and the rest of us taking us in like they did.
Yeah, 100%. I do think, actually, now that you say, that some of that nice feeling comes from the average age of people who were in RIP being that little bit higher.
Yes. I didn't see many people that were probably under the age of 25 at the lowest of ages. No, the age thing, yeah. Maybe that is the thing. Maybe it's either young kids that have come with their parents, or again older people like you and I that are just wanting that bit more space to be able to relax and have a calmer.
In our group,
experience.
when we were actually camped, and we were, I'm going to say this, I think we were camped with people of an age that we've never camped with before at Download, and they were really nice people. And I wonder whether there's a safe feeling that comes from being around people who are older than you. Do you think?
Maybe. I think I think that's definitely a factor. I think that it's because we're all in RIP for a reason. You don't want to spend in hundreds of pounds and go fucking smashing shit up and trashing the place. You're there to be able to relax, so you want to make sure that you're passing on that sort of relaxing atmosphere as well. Or at least I felt that. I went there to try and chill out and be able to relax whilst I wasn't in the arena. And I very well managed to do that, and I wouldn't want to put anybody else in the position where they felt uncomfortable. Whereas obviously general camping, I don't think people go out their way to make people uncomfortable, but there's a lot more people that their style of fun isn't the style of fun that, say, you and I would have, as we did when we were in RIP.
I think that a nice comparison would be is if you were camping. In general camping, that would be like pitching up tent, pitching up your tent on like a main road, but RIP's like camping in your back garden.
Love that analogy because I cannot fault it and I cannot argue that at all because that's actually spot on. I totally agree.
I don't want to spend too much time on RIP because obviously not everybody was, despite the fact that RIP was massive this year. It was like equally the size of any of the other camps.
Obviously, I've gotten a comparison because obviously this is my first time doing it, but it felt huge. It felt like there was a lot of people there, and I do wonder whether people did what I did in 2020 when they announced that 2020 wasn't going ahead. My initial thought was, well, I've already bought my ticket for 2020, so why don't I pay the other half of RIP or pay the other half for RIP? Because I was going to spend that money on 2021 anyway. So I thought, yeah, why don't I just spend the money and do the RIP experience?
There we go. Yeah, that's what you do. Did I tell you that I met some people in RIP randomly who knew who I was, and they liked the podcast and they're fans and stuff.
We met a couple of people this time around, but I didn't realise there's anyone actually in RIP that you'd met. You might have mentioned it.
No, fair point.
we were drinking a little bit.
Yes, one or two quiet drinks.
Yep.
Yes. So But if you met us, thanks for coming up to us and being nice and saying hello. I'm saying this now, stone cold sober, as opposed to when I was at Download and half cut most of the time. So yes, it was nice. It was lovely to meet you all, and thanks for listening to us and being so supportive. But we met Dave for the first time in years, didn't we?
I haven't seen that. I don't think I've seen Dave since Download 2019, and it was so good to see him.
Yeah,
I have missed him. He's a sarcastic, dry knobhead, but I wouldn't change him. And we had a good time. We had a lot of drinks together. We had a good time. Saw lots of bands together. And it was a really good experience. It's really nice seeing him again. Yeah. And I'll probably end up seeing him in Cornwall before I see him at Download again.
That's mad, isn't it? How crazy. Yeah. But I think a lot of people will have had that experience because, you know, there's people who have friends who they only see at Download. And I don't think we'll be alone in that feeling of seeing old friends again.
No, I thought this when we were leading up to Download, that not only were, again, you and I seeing Dave for the first time in 3 years, there'd be a lot of people that the people they go to Download with or they meet up with, they're Download mates. They're not going to see them outside of Download. So yeah, that was one element that I was really excited about, was the fact that the atmosphere was going to be that. You're going to see so many people that you haven't seen for like 3 years.
Yeah. And
again, for me, it was fantastic, obviously seeing Dave, and I imagine it was a same sort of experience for other people.
Now, bands who you saw, who were you most impressed by? Because you saw a lot.
Most impressed by? Well, as everything unfolds, I saw them twice.
Oh, did you see them twice, did you?
I saw them twice. I had to. They are my High Wycombe homies. I had to see them twice. And they were fucking brilliant. I think I said on one of the recordings we did at the festival that I was worried about the way that the vocalist Charlie, the way she sounds in the studio. I was worried that she wouldn't be able to carry it onto the stage, and I was so wrong. So wrong.
I thought she was brilliant.
She absolutely smashed it. The energy from all the lads and their instruments again, they were fucking fantastic.
Oh, yeah, the whole band, so much energy, absolutely.
Yeah, they were fantastic, and I'm really glad I saw them twice because the sets were obviously slightly different because obviously slightly different timings, but it was an experience. I'm very, very much glad I got to see them.
Yeah, I saw them the once with you in the courtyard in the RIP Park Farm.
I thought you were with me. Okay, this is how much we had to drink that weekend. I thought you were with me when I saw them in the Avalanche stage.
Oh, really? Wow. God, that would have been on the Friday, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it was Friday, fairly early in the day.
Okay. I was probably sipping Sambuca, to be honest, in the campsite. But who knows?
Sambuca?
Yeah.
Who the fuck had Sambuca?
Well, there was somebody in our camp who was very generous with his Sambuca, and was
Oh, okay. Yeah, now I remember.
literally pouring it into my mouth. And you know,
Jesus.
I'm not going to say no to his generosity.
I'm not going to say no to him pouring something in your mouth. Okay.
I quite enjoyed it. I'm going to mention a band who I was most impressed by. Modern Era.
Okay, that's a good shout. When were they playing?
Oh my God! Don't ask me specifics. But do you know? I think it was the Saturday actually. But they were on the Dogtooth stage. They didn't draw a massive crowd because they look like a very new band.
I think they are. I've heard bits and pieces of their stuff, obviously for the lead up to download. New band would be definitely one of the words to describe them. I enjoyed their stuff in the studios. I mean, if I was fucking sober enough and wasn't asleep, I probably would have seen them too.
Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised at how good they were. They were so tight as a live band, and you could see that they were all absolutely loving life on that stage. The sound was fantastic. There were people moshing there. I mean, it was quite frightening to see people in their 50s moshing quite near me.
I'll tell you what, they are the scariest ones because a lot of the older fellas that are again in their 50s moshing, they've been doing it for a long time, probably used to it, and they're hard hitters. I mean, God. You see some of these kids that are doing like fucking karate kicks and punches in the pits. But some of these blokes that are in their 50s that are doing it, they are tough cookies. I remember I'm going back years, like when I was a wee nipper, and I watched the Undertones. Do you remember the song Teenage Kicks?
Yeah, I do.
I saw the band that obviously originally made that song, the Undertones. This was years ago at a Chelmsford holiday park or something.
Oh wow!
And I moshed with my dad.
Really?
Now I must have been about 16 at the time, so he was in his late 40s, and I was moshing with dad. These other blokes in their late 40s and their 50s, and my God, they are hard hitters. It was a lot of fun. It
was like watching a fist fight. It was quite frightening to be that close. It's not the same, is it? You're quite right. It's a different generation, isn't it? I've never thought of that before. Generational moshing. It's different through the generations.
I'll tell you one thing. So I did see something actually. This must have been during Sleep Token. And there was a very young lad behind me. I said very young. He must have been about 16, 17. And another lad who I'd spoken to briefly, who was probably in his mid to late 20s. And he almost tried to teach this young lad how to mosh. And he's jumped back in the pit, swinging his arm about. And then out of nowhere, this lad who was quite cocky, trying to teach us younger how to mosh, he got clattered and went fucking flying.
Oh.
And I thought, that's what you get for showing off.
Oh my God. No, this is
it looked like it hurt as well. Yeah. It looked like it caused him a lot of pain. But it literally, they must have just clashed. Like, it wasn't intentional, obviously. But he was swinging his arm around, not knowing what he was doing. And then someone just come in and run in and just barged him out the way. It looked painful. But that's the risk you run when you're trying to get into a mosh pit.
Yeah. I wish I could say I'd got any sympathy, but I really haven't.
No, we all know as rockers and heavy metalers and whatnot that when there's a mosh pit, if you're going in, you've got to know what you're getting yourself in for.
And if you are near the mosh pit, then the same applies. If you don't want to be twatted in the face, don't be anywhere near that mosh pit, as I found out when I went to go and see Royal Blood.
Yeah, no, that's unfortunate. That unfortunately can happen. I've always got my if I'm that close to one, I always try to wriggle myself away from it
Because I'm not going for that. I'm not going for that sort of thing. I just want to see the band. That's why I'm there. And
I tell you what, I actually this time round I did thoroughly enjoy watching mosh pits instead of actually being in one.
you?
I think obviously last time I went to Down, I was 29. The last gigs I've been to was May of last year up until obviously now. And I think I moshed a couple of times for Envisions, but I wasn't in that long.
No.
Maybe COVID has affected my fitness so much. I just can't do it.
No. God. No, I know. Well, I mean, you do, like I say, you see people moshing who are in their 50s, and if good on them. Good on them if they want to do that. I know we've got people of that sort of age who listen and older, but I don't know when. I suppose everyone's got their own sort of limit as to when they stop moshing. And
I think if I was a bit fitter, I probably would. But with the lack of any sort of fucking exercise or anything during the lockdowns and obviously post COVID, I'm just not fit enough for it anymore.
No,
I'm actually partially because I've been doing quite a lot of walking on the weekends, but partially because of that, but partially because of download, I'm absolutely exhausted. I haven't felt alive or awake since I got back.
Wow. See, that exhaustion that you're feeling is what I was like on the Sunday. That last day, I was fucked completely. But I think it's just from walking, because I don't walk that many steps normally. And it's not that hilly at Download. But I think it's just from doing so much physical activity, just going to different stages. Because I wasn't doing that much that was that particular, I'm not carrying heavy equipment. I'm not doing anything, really. I'm just walking about. Yeah, that's interesting to know that you're still feeling exhausted.
Yeah, I don't know what it, again, whether it's a post-COVID sort of thing, because obviously I have had COVID. I had it fairly recently. I think it was April I got it. Whether or not that whole long COVID thing has got, obviously, whether that's affected my cardiovascular capacity, I suppose.
You could be right there, because I had long COVID, but I was feeling quite exhausted a lot of the time, and I had a hoarse throat for quite a long time. I sounded like an old man, which was very annoying as someone who works with his voice. But yeah, you're right. It could be that. It could be that. Sympathies. Hopefully you feel better soon. So the first wave of tickets has been released for Download 2023, with the allocation of RIP already being sold out, which is not surprising because people love it so much that they go as soon as they're released pretty much. I know I got mine sorted. More.
Have you? You didn't tell me that. You didn't tell me you got your ticket sorted already.
Oh yes, thank you.
Oh, well done.
Yes, that's you've got to be there, because you get your early bird prices, don't you, when you do it straight away?
Of course.
And I think it's for the best. What with it being did we decide it's the most expensive festival in the UK? Or is it the second one?
We did, yes. We did do a podcast a few months ago.
We had a list, didn't we?
Where even Glastonbury was
cheaper,
a little bit cheaper than Download. And I don't know whether it was because, like we said, whether it was recouping losses, or for the fact they're doing 4 days now, whether it was not to build up for that. It could be a number of things.
It could be anything. This is what we found out, is that there's a lot we don't know about the behind the scenes putting together of Download. We did find out that there was a reason why there was no cinema. It was a boring reason. In so much as they couldn't get the concrete pillars or whatever, the concrete sort of blocks that they needed to be able to put it up in place. That, I mean, it's a boring reason, but that's why there wasn't a cinema, basically.
But but that sort of, again, that's that sort of. It's boring, but it explains a lot of why things were so much different. I imagine as well they wanted tops for that was not. I'm sure this is another thing. I'm not making this up. I swear, they wanted tops for the doghouse and side split stage.
Oh, I didn't hear that. Go on.
Again, unless I'm making this up, I'm sure they wanted tops for them, but they had nowhere really to put the tents up or put the coverings up. Hence why they thought the containers may be a little bit, shipping containers may be a little bit better, which acoustically we found out they weren't. Aesthetically, we found out that they were.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed the aesthetic of it, but acoustically, not quite on the money.
Yeah, could have been better, definitely. I wonder how different it would have sounded if there had been canvas roofs on top. It may have affected it. I don't know. I'm not a qualified acoustics engineer.
I thought you were.
So that would be interesting for next time to see if they change. I mean, they're obviously going to change that because I have a feeling that they're going to stick with this in the village on the hard standing.
Can I just pick you up on something?
Go on.
You keep saying next time, not next year. Are you worried about anything like COVID related again that could stop it?
No, not at all. It's just,
and then we couldn't have a download for another few years.
No, just my use of language. That's all. But yeah, I think they're going to stick with. I think it's a success. I think what they. It's just getting used to it, isn't it? Because it's all different, and none of us are
change is a scary thing to a lot of people, and I think that's probably what it was. That it was different. But I mean, I didn't think difference was bad. Yeah, the acoustic could have been a bit better, but again, they did what they could with what they had, and aesthetically, it was very pleasing to the eye. The bands they had on in the village were amazing.
They were for the Bawdy takeover.
That's another reason why I didn't mosh over the weekend. Remember, I got a smack in the face, didn't I?
You had a big hole in your face.
Yeah, it's healed.
Has it?
It's finally. Yeah, it didn't take long to heal.
Oh,
but
good. Did the glue fall off?
I had to pick it off. That was pissing me off. It was like there's a big green bogey on the side of my lip. I just had to pick it away.
Oh my god! I wonder what that glue is. Pritt stick.
A very strong skin repairing adhesive.
Oh god! Did it really hurt or not?
Nah, it didn't hurt at all. It was a bit painful on the inside of my lip, because obviously that had been cut, as well as obviously. So I mean, every time I was trying to eat something, whether it be salty or it be sour, it was very painful.
Oh, no. And how do they put it on your face? Is it because in my head, because I didn't see any of this happen, you were behind a screen. I imagine a sort of, like a hot glue gun. Just applying it to your face.
Could you imagine someone applying that hot glue to your face? That was fucking no. So if you imagine, you wear glasses, so I assume. Do you need eye drops?
I do, yes.
Right. So it was a little bottle like that, like eye drops, and it was literally just squeezed out slowly but surely onto the
affected area.
On and around the affected area.
Oh dear! Oh god! Oh no! But you did.
I was actually in the video for Borders. They made a post-download video, and you can see me in it. And I even messaged them saying that they were fucking amazing because they were obviously. And I cut my face open in the mosh pit, to which I then obviously had to go to the welfare tent. So thank you for that. And they did message me back.
Did they?
So fuck me, that's commitment. Glad you had a good time.
I mean, I'm surprised they didn't see it happen, to be honest, because you were right front and centre, weren't you?
They're probably concentrating on far more important things.
I'm surprised they didn't go, God, look at him.
In the chubby fellow who's in his early 30s whinging that his face is fucking pissing out claret. No.
Yeah. I'm quite pleased that we did take you to the welfare tent on that occasion, because you did look. Did you see yourself though? Did you actually see yourself?
I imagine it looked a lot worse than it was, because obviously I wasn't bothered about going or not, but you insisted, and I thought, well, if I don't go, you would probably still mention it. You gotta go. You gotta go. You're bleeding. You gotta go. But it was probably a good thing that I did, because of the amount of alcohol that I had. Obviously, alcohol thins the blood out, and I was bleeding quite a bit as it was. It was a good thing that it got stitched up and the bleeding stops.
Yeah, not a good time to be brave about that, I don't think.
No.
Oh my God, yeah. And so we intended actually to get Hev on, didn't we? To chat to us about the Border takeover, but obviously she's a very busy woman, and it's a very tiring weekend, so didn't manage to do it on this download. But perhaps next time we'll have a chat with Hev, who organises the Border takeover and all the amazing. It was really interesting to hear them talk actually about how they judge who should be on there.
Could you imagine being part of that panel though? Like that would I think I'd love it, because I get to listen to all these new bands that are
you
new
would
up and coming bands. I'd fucking love it. At the same time though, you've got to consciously make choices and you'd have to whittle it down to so many bands that you'd have to cut other bands out, and you think, I don't want to do that.
Yeah,
I couldn't imagine. I can't imagine it's an easy job to do.
No, but you're right. You would absolutely love that. If you were doing that for Download or even Border Takeover, I think you'd be very happy.
Oh, I know I would. I think, again, if anyone that's listening for any festival that wants someone to listen to loads of bands and choose them for their festivals, I am your man. I'm very happy to take up all my weekend to do that sort of thing.
Cut price anti-copping is Lee Ellingham. So if you were, just to get back onto the particular story that I was on there, if you were hoping to get more RIP tickets in the future, because I did say that they were sold out, more will be released in the future. They release them in waves, don't they, the tickets?
Yeah, I don't think as well they've released the caravan and camper van tickets yet either. I'm seeing a lot of it on Facebook that they've not released the tickets for those yet. So please don't panic. Your tickets that you want for wherever area you want to be in will be available soon. Just hold tight. It's coming.
And just while we're on tickets there, I don't think we've actually mentioned how we got our tickets, because I think in the last regular version of Festpod that we recorded, we were saying, have faith, they'll get here. They always do. There was some sort of workaround on the website, wasn't it? You had to go onto Frontgate, and then you had to click a button, and then your tickets would suddenly appear, and then you could add it.
Oh yeah, I remember now. Yeah,
so long ago.
I know. So they emailed you like almost like a day or two before the festival. I think it might even be the day before, like 2 days before the festival, to say your tickets are now available. Follow this link. So you click the link to Frontgate, to which it said, well, your tickets are available, click here, then your tickets with a QR code would come up. And
then you save it as a Google Pay or Apple Pay or whatever.
Yeah, you stick it in your Google Pay wallet or your Apple wallet. I thoroughly prefer that than having the paper ticket. The paper ticket's good. It's a memento.
Yeah.
However, with the current state, obviously, environment, climate crisis, etc., less paper is good. Plus, I mean, personally, I had no issue with it at all. I was getting a bit itchy feet. Like, was it going to turn up or not? But there were ways around it if they didn't turn up.
Yeah.
But it did, and I felt that was a lot easier and a lot less stressful than thinking about whether or not I'm going to forget my ticket.
I just wish that they had sent the tickets earlier. That's all. Because, it happens every year that we all get uber stressed about where's my ticket? I'm gonna turn up and I won't have a ticket. What am I gonna do? Every year this happens, every year without fail. And I think the communication could have been a little bit better about, we're going to send the tickets 24 hours before you go. Or whatever, just a line, just an email to say, this is what's going to happen. Don't worry, you will get your ticket. Because there's so much panic. I mean, panic, because people come from all around the world. So I can understand why there's panic. But there's also panic 6 months before. So
maybe that's why Download weren't taken. I'm not saying they didn't take it seriously, but maybe it wasn't taken as seriously as some of us would have liked, because there's always panic. There's always some sort of worry about some certain aspect of the festival. And obviously, even when we got to speak with or get spoken to by John Probin, who's the events manager for Download, Festival Republic, Live Nation, he held his hands up for a lot of things and said, we've made a balls up. Sorry.
And I think that was really big of him to do that, actually.
Oh, definitely. The only issue is obviously there was only a few people there was only a small minority of people that got to hear that compared to the rest of the festival. But
this was at the Bawdy Barbecue.
It was at the Bawdy Barbecue, yeah. So I do keep forgetting that we've done stuff, and I just assume that everybody else has done the same thing.
But Download 23 will have 4 days of music. And we're not just talking about Bawdy Takeover and RIP Courthouse. We're talking about actual 4 days of music. So that means 4 headliners. It means 4 days in the arena. I mean, it's a special one because it's the 20th Download Festival. So this is going to be mega, isn't it?
It's going to be huge, and I cannot stress that enough. It's going to be absolutely massive, and we've already been told by Andy Copping in an interview that he did with someone that we are going to flip for the headliners that he's going to announce, and fingers crossed it's going to be sooner rather than later. But obviously, we'll see. It's going to be massive, and I can't stress that enough. Obviously, it's never happened at Download before. It's just going to be huge. The words can't describe how big this Download is going to be compared to other downloads.
Biggest download ever.
I think it's needed because it's such a special occasion as well. I think it is needed because I mean everyone's been saying for years, and it has been for the last few years over the COVID, that they expected 2022 to be a 4-day festival to make up for lost time in that.
Oh.
And they've actually listened. The 2023 will be a 4-day festival instead.
Yeah, it is the 20th, isn't it?
It's the 20th anniversary, so whether or not that means that it's the 20th download, I don't think it is. I think it's 20 years that Download has been a thing, because the first Download was in 2003.
Okay, that's interesting. I don't know really.
So it's not that it's the 20th festival; it's the 20th year anniversary that Download Festival has been a thing.
Ooh, there are already lots of sort of speculation about who those headliners might be, because it is going to be special. It is going to be special. And on the one band that is coming out of everybody's mouths is Metallica.
Yeah, everyone says it every year.
I know.
and I don't know. I still don't believe it's going to be them.
I don't actually.
But at the same time, I'm like, it would make sense. We're going to flip. The Metallica is the band that people are going to flip for. I mean, who else could people flip for? AC/DC, Bring Me the Horizon, Rammstein. So, I mean, I say System of a Down. Not that I was really impressed by the last time they were there. However, they were due to play in 2020, and then obviously couldn't play in 2022. But they're still a big headliner for Download, and they will be. And I think System of a Down is one that's absolutely nailed on to be there.
There's lots of arguments about this, about who people want to see, who people don't want to see, and who should be a headliner, who shouldn't be a headliner. And I think it's important to remember that it is just one act on the lineup, or 4 acts in this case on the lineup. If you don't like the headliners, it doesn't matter. You've got the rest of the festival to enjoy. And, you know, to be honest with you, in 22, I didn't see much of the actual headliners.
I saw possibly 15, 20 minutes of Kiss, and that was it.
Yeah, same here.
When a Funeral for a Friend finished on the Saturday, I went back. I had every intention of coming back, but I went back to my tent to get a hoodie, put the hoodie on, and fell asleep.
Did you?
Yeah, I got comfy and warm and fell asleep.
Wow. Yeah, I wondered where you'd gone actually, so that makes sense.
No, my Saturday was a complete write-off. Even when I came back, it was a write-off. I remember watching Deftones. I think I watched Grandson and The Fame, Normandy. All very good bands, all very good acts. Absolutely love them. But
so are you, at this point, are you just stood there absolutely out of your mind watching these bands, or what?
No, because obviously, so me being a clever dick, thought it was a good idea to drink all that rum 8:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
And it hadn't hit me how much I drank until halfway, to the end of Temples on Mars set, which I was then intending to stay for Death Blooms. But then I stood up and I thought, whoa, fuck this. I've got to go to sleep. I've got to sleep this off.
Wow.
Then got back to the campsite about 11:30 and apparently said the words, and I quote, "I'm fucking bladdered."
Yes.
And then passed out in my tent.
Yeah, you walked past me. I don't think you saw me.
I don't think I saw quite a lot of things. I didn't even realise I spoke to anybody before I got my tent. I thought I went straight to the tent, but apparently I'd spoken to people.
Yeah, you did. Okay, that's very interesting. Were you
when I went back? Sorry, to answer your original question, when I went back, I had sobered up quite a bit, and I was able to enjoy my evening, and then obviously slept like a baby for the evening, and I was fresh as a daisy for Sunday.
Were you as drunk on rum as we were during the pilot on Jack Daniels?
I know I was worse.
Were you?
I was worse.
Fucking hell.
Because the pilot, I felt as if I was quite coherent and I knew what was going on, and I didn't feel as if I need to go to sleep, because we went to the silent disco and we stayed there for a bit and had a good time. But with how much I drunk that early in the morning at Download, I realised, fuck, no, I've got to go back to the tent. I wouldn't feel safe being that drunk in the arena.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I do remember you walking back to the tent actually, because I stayed behind at the pilot and danced for a while. It was just I think because it was the first festival after the pandemic or whatever, the first one since 2019, and I just wanted to go for it, so I did. But yeah, we were well away, and you forget how drunk we were, to be honest. I think we just needed to let go, didn't we, at the pilot?
I've just had a thought. Lightning has just struck my brain.
Oh, go on then.
There was one thing that wasn't at Download 2022 that was at the pilot and has been at every festival beforehand that wasn't at Download 2022.
Oh, go on.
Easy Cheesy.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
I didn't see Easy Cheesy at the festival
How
at
weird.
all.
How strange. Maybe that's why it felt different.
Maybe they realised their shit.
You can say what you want now because they weren't there. Wow. Okay. Yes, that's very true. Because they normally
it was such a random thought, because I remember roughly where it was placed at the pilot, and I looked around and thought to myself, it's not here. they're not here. I mean, what a shame. I mean, I wouldn't have eaten it anyway, but it was just like, wow, fuck me, it's not here.
I know, exactly. Wow, well spotted. A month later.
I spotted it then, I just forgot to tell you.
So there are other... I mean, we haven't got much more to say, to be honest, about any news in terms of Download Festival, because it's just happened. So we can't really give you a full sort of news section about Download because there isn't any. So instead, we can discuss other festivals. We have just had Glastonbury, which I know some people who like Download hate. They don't like Glastonbury at all. I mean, it is very different. I can understand, you know, it's not the same at all. It's I don't think it's the same audience really, but it is, there's some crossover. Skunk and Nancy were there, who I would love to see at Download. I've never seen Skunk and Nancy, and I used to love them as a kid, and would love to see them play. I don't know where they would. I don't know. Would they headline? Could you imagine them?
You'd imagine they'd either be quite high up on the second stage, but also then again, maybe like the hour slot that's like third before the headliner.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, the way that Download obviously put their bands on is very different from a lot of the other festivals. Like these big acts, like I say, like Skunk and Nancy, like I imagine they'd probably want quite a lot of exposure, quite a lot of money as well.
Yeah.
To be playing it. It's it's difficult to say really. Obviously, we're not. You and I, while we love doing this, talk about this festival. We love this festival as much as we do. We're not really in the midst of all that sort of what's going on behind the scenes.
No.
So this is just purely our opinion. I mean, I think the hour slot on main stage, or a guest appearance, or headlining the second stage, would suit them down to the ground.
Oh my God, I would be there. I would be there. If we were going to book Skunk and Nancy for Festpod Fest, where would you put them then?
I reckon I'd stick them as a headliner or a special guest, you know.
Ooh.
Because they're not a new band.
No.
As you said, you enjoyed them quite a lot when you were younger.
In the 90s.
Yeah, so they are a big, well-established band.
Well known,
probably at a small festival like Festpod Fest would be.
Yeah,
they would deserve a headline slot.
Oh yeah, yes, I like that. I'm picturing it in my head right now. Do you know what we'll have to do? We should have to mock up a lineup poster for Festpod Fest. And I like the idea. I like that. So we'll have to do that, I think, and think of some bands to go on it.
I'll tell you what, I'm up for that. Yeah, because everyone every year does their sort of like their ideal Download festival. Like I think I've even seen some mock-ups of what they think that 2023 will be like.
Yeah,
but yeah, we should put on like this would be our Festpod festival.
Oh my God.
What do you think? And that's you know what? No, I do. I really enjoy this. I'm loving this idea.
Okay, yeah. So how many stages do you want?
Oh, well, I mean, we'll have to start off small. We've got to obviously let people realise that whilst we're not established yet, we mean fucking business. So maybe 2, maybe 3.
Okay.
If I'm feeling confident, 3. And I've already got bands in my head that I'd stick on the smaller stages.
Wow. I'm genuinely excited about doing this, you know. And I know it's only in our heads at the moment, but this sounds really exciting.
Oh yeah, that's I tell you what, we'll get Dave involved.
Yes.
All right. We need to take a stage each.
Oh yes.
And then obviously 2-day festival? What are we doing?
Hey. I think a 3-day festival might be nice, don't you?
Okay, so we'll take a day each.
Yes.
We'll take a stage each.
A stage each, right?
Stage each, and we'll do. Between that's 7-8 bands each.
Wow. Oh, my God. You know, my stage is going to be completely different to yours and Dave's.
That's fine. That's what will make Festpod Fest amazing. The variety will be just outstanding.
Oh, my God. I'm so excited. Okay. This has to happen one day, you know. We have to put a festival on. And you can
Tell you what, I'm gonna probably. I tell you what, give me a couple of weeks. I tell you what, next time we do the podcast, let's throw the poster onto the socials.
Yes,
and we can talk about it on the next podcast.
All right, yeah.
Because there may not be a lot of news by the next podcast anyway. Because again, we're still going to be in festival season by the next time we do a podcast.
Yes.
So
yes, yeah. Okay. So there's that to look forward to.
I mean, we're excited. I hope the idea is excited you guys as well. But I say we're excited.
Okay. So Glastonbury was. Do you know what? I'm going to compare Download to Glastonbury because I know some people hate it. Some people think it's okay. I just love festivals, and Glastonbury is completely different in terms of the size. Glastonbury's like a big town. In population terms, it's like, you know, it's there's a lot of people there. You've got more stages, you've got more happening, and it is definitely a different crowd. You do have one or two metal acts on. But it's not a metal festival. It's not a rock or metal festival. Not really. There's a lot of pop acts. Like, you never get Diana Ross at Download.
I honestly think she'd go down swimmingly. At
oh my God, I would
Download.
so be there.
Oh Christ, yeah. The thing is that's the thing. Like, as we found out, I think this year, the sort of acts that you wouldn't think metalheads would actually enjoy, they do. Fuck me, do they go nuts? The likes of the Venga Boys. Oh my word! I heard. I must have. Fuck me, what's it called? Not We're Going to Ibiza. What's the other one they did? The Venga Bus. The Venga Bus is coming. I mean, metalheads go fucking insane for that. Yeah. And I think we have Thy Art Is Murder to blame for that. There's a video on my Instagram for when Thy Art Is Murder were about to come out, and they played it, and the whole tent went insane.
Yes,
and it's just been a thing since then.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Actually, there's that Rocktail cocktail thing that's there every year.
The DJ booth. Yeah,
and that's
you know what they did that. They did that in 2018. Yes, it was 2018 because we were. It was sponsored by somebody else, but they did it in 2018, and it went down so well. It was a massive hit, and obviously the pilot as well. It was enjoyed thoroughly because obviously pilot being smaller and not all the acts were going to be everyone's cup of tea because it was obviously a lot smaller festival. There's only a fewer bands compared to what it usually is. That went down That went down really, really well. I think there was security guard at the pilot which stole the show. He was on a ladder, like throwing shapes and dancing on this ladder.
Oh, you've got to. You've got to. In that situation, I've worked at, oh God, what festival was it now? It was a dance festival. I think it was something like Global Gathering. And fuck knows where it was. I got there on a coach. But I was there as a steward or security. And I was absolutely loving life, dancing away. I was doing my job, but in between doing my job, I was dancing and enjoying myself because it's a festival and you're supposed to enjoy yourself. I've watched videos of security in the pit enjoying themselves and having a dance. And why not? As long as you're doing your job, you can enjoy yourself, can't you? And I think that's better, to be honest, rather than just standing there looking a bit moody and looking at the crowd. I think that, you're getting involved, you're enjoying yourself, and people love you for it. So 2,000 Trees is imminent. It's about to happen.
It is as of today, which is the 1st of July, pinch punch, first of the month.
Oh, yeah, thanks.
It is happening next week. It's got a great lineup. Idols, Jimmy Eat World, Turnstiles. It's going to be an amazing weekend.
If I had any money, I'd be there, and I promise you that. I would absolutely. But I love that lineup. I think it's great.
Yeah, they do manage to smash out a decent lineup every year. It's definitely one on the bucket list that needs to be done. Could you just excuse me for 2 seconds while I just
Oh,
thank you.
You're just enjoying yourself. It's the
So
last.
this is the last remaining cans I have from Download, and I'm only just getting around to drinking them. And it reminds me of Download, not just because of the drinks I took, but it's because it's those big green Carlsberg cans that you got to buy out the fridges at the bars instead of them pouring it for you. It came in a can.
Okay. Yeah, so 2,000 Trees, do you know what? I've got to get there. I've got to get there at some point, but I don't know when or how or what, because I'm so skint after Download. I don't know about you. I have spent so much money, because what I do is I take one of those prepaid cards what you can load money up onto and just spend on that at the festival. I don't touch my current account. So all my festival spending goes on savings on my prepaid card, and I have spent all of it.
Yeah, I managed to. So I thought, right, this time round, I've got loads of food, I've got loads of booze. I'm not going to spend that much money. I ended up spending about 300 quid for the whole weekend.
Yeah,
for the whole week. Sorry, and that was not my intention whatsoever. It was insane. But that's what happens. Like, you're in the moment, you see some merch or you see some beers, whatever. You just go for it. You're at a festival. Fuck it, I'm enjoying myself.
You're in that consumption sort of mood, aren't you? Because I was in the RIP. They had their own merch stall, which I was mistaken in believing that they were only giving out stuff that you were getting, because when you get an RIP ticket, you get the special bits and bobs, you get like a little goodie bag and stuff. And I just thought it was that. But no, they actually had previous year's RIP merch. So
I didn't know that.
I know.
I was under the impression that, again, it was just the 2022 RIP goodie bags that they hadn't quite got round to giving out yet. Oh.
Well, I don't know how I found this out. Maybe I just walked past it and noticed, but they had old... Do you know what I really wanted was a 2013 just a Download t-shirt from 2013, because that was my first Download, and I was working and I never got to get any merch from that year, and that's the only year I've never got any merch. So I've gutted. I can't get any now.
I don't know where my first top's gone. I'm sure I've still got it somewhere, but I don't know where that's disappeared to. The oldest top that I know that I've got in my dresser drawer is from 2018.
Oh my God.
Must have packed them away, because I've had a t-shirt every year. So I must have packed it away.
Oh, you've got to get a t-shirt, haven't you? So I got myself... Do you know what they had? They had little black ducks, Download ducks, for some reason. I don't know what that...
That's quite cool, actually. My Download dog that I bought...
Oh, yeah?
It's gone down a treat with my dog.
Oh, really?
He fucking loves it. He's always got it in his gob. He's always shaking it about, like trying to fight it. He loves it. He absolutely loves it.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Bloodstock isn't too far away either. Now, they're about ready to go, aren't they?
Yeah, August. The second weekend into August. Again, headliners of that: Behemoth, Merciful Fate, and oh Christ, I should know. I do this every week. Every time we do this, I always forget something. Bollocks.
But Bloodstock is isn't it? Like, it's up there on your list, isn't it? I mean, you have.
I do. So we do really enjoy going. This year we have decided we're not going to go, which is a shame, because the lineup is pretty good. Lamb of God. There we go. That's the other headliner. And it is a really, 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 really good lineup. And we always have a really, 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 really good time. But this year we've decided not to go. And I'm actually in Bloodstock prep mode for some reason. I'm not even going. So whenever I come back from Download and we are due to go to Bloodstock, I always do the same 2 or 3 things. I start watching Vikings on Amazon Prime.
You?
Which I'm currently halfway through.
Are you?
The binge. And I start listening to more power metal and black metal. And I am. Yesterday, I had a good session at work. Listened to a band called Ordenogan, and they're fucking fantastic.
Do they look like Vikings?
No, Ordenogan is a German power metal band, and they were absolutely insanely good live. And I'd love to see them again. Another power metal band I couldn't recommend more that I've seen at Bloodstock with Blind Guardian. But yeah, no, we always do have a really, really good time. And the festival is very much linked to download a lot of the time. The organisers and the directors all go to download. They were there at download this year.
Yeah. There's some crossover, isn't there?
There's a lot of crossover, and yeah, just not this year, unfortunately. Like you said, you're massively skinned from download.
I mean, I can't believe it. How do I see? I don't know how I live. How do I spend that much money and not even notice? Oh my God. Okay.
You're on holiday. You're having a good time. It always happens. Every time. I mean, I'm the same. Every time I go away, even if it's not download, it's just like a holiday. You end up coming back and thinking, where the fuck did all the money go?
Yeah. Because I've not that much to show for it. I mean, we had a good time. Oh dear, I need my pin changing so I can't remember it. That's probably what it is.
I tell you what, I've done the Euro Millions for tonight, and fingers crossed that it's only 170 million this time around. So that'll do.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Hey Neil, with 170 million, I could put our festival on.
You bloody could. You bloody could. Yes, you could. Oh my God. Oh yes. Oh, can you imagine? I know we need this to happen. We need
it would be amazing, and it probably takes a lot more than what we're thinking it should take. But yeah, it would be amazing.
I think, do you know what? We should probably start off with a small festival and work our way up to a bigger festival.
I'm already sorting out the smaller bands for the third stage. Don't you worry. Okay.
All right.
I'm sorting those ones out. If you want to stick Skunk Anisi in and some other a vintage acts that could draw a crowd in, you crack on.
I love this. I'm doing all the vintage stuff because I remember the 90s.
I mean. The oldest I was in the 90s, 1999, I was only 9 years old. So
for God's sake!
So I remember bits and pieces, but I'm not fully.
Oh my God!
I wouldn't have been fully aware.
Oh dear! Every episode, there's just a moment where I feel so old, and this is it. So I think. Yeah, so all right, well, yeah, we'll have a look at Festpod Fest, and we'll have a think about what's to come in our minds. But next, we are going to get some advice about going to download in the guide. In this section, we'll try and answer your questions about what it's like to go to Download Festival, things that we recommend, and things to avoid. This time, the New Village. The Village is where we all go for food, fun, shopping and moshing before the band start in the main arena. But from 2022, it's very different to how it's been before. So here's our guide to the New Village. So we have already spoken extensively about the Village, but this is our official guide. Well, sorry, unofficial guide. Because we're not official, not at all. We're not endorsed by anybody in charge, although we do operate with their permission, interestingly. First of all, we're going to talk about the Tarmac Lake. So the Village is in a completely different place to where it was. In fact, I don't think I could find where the Village used to be now. It's. Do you think the placement of the Village is good?
Oh, I love it. I honestly believe this is the best placement they've had for the Village since I started going in 2015.
Really? Do you prefer it more than on the grass?
I do. Purely for weather conditions. There was no trouncing through mud. Yeah, obviously it was dry this year, luckily, but there was no trouncing through mud and getting stuck and feeling. I wasn't feeling as if I just want to go back to the campsite. I'd rather be sat at the camp and drinking instead of enjoying the village. We could walk around quite happily and not worry about getting stuck in the mud.
Yeah, definitely. And I can't speak for anybody in any of the other campsites, but it was very conveniently placed for us to get to. It didn't take long for us to get to at all.
So I went and met Dave, who was in Purple Camp.
Yeah.
And I mean, it felt like a long walk, since I just walked from RIP and the other side of the village away all the way down. But it was less than a 5-minute walk from one corner of Purple Camp all the way up past the track into the village. It wasn't that long of a walk at all.
Yeah.
Obviously, I can't speak for anybody that was in Blue Camp or Black Camp. But we managed to walk to the edge of the village and then obviously to the doghouse, sorry. Didn't feel far. Even if it was a little bit uphill, didn't feel far at all.
Because they were making some pretty wild claims about how close it was to all the campsites, weren't they?
They were. And I think we did discuss whether that was with no camping, no stuff on their backs. They're probably doing it at pace as well to try and make it seem it was shorter.
Sprinting. I did it in 3 minutes, look, I did it in 3 minutes.
Well, there you go. No, I thought it was very well placed. I think they could have done better with the some of the stalls and the shops, the co-op especially, being a bit more closer to the village. But at the same time, no, I had no real massive complaints, especially from where we were camping.
Yeah. So it's fairly central to most of the campsites. You know, you can't please everybody, can you? There's always somebody who's going to find it a long way. But yeah, it's. I mean, just getting onto it, with it being on tarmac, it eliminates that worry of, well, if it does rain, I might as well not bother. Like 2019, you know, it was a mud bath. It was a complete washout, and none of us went to, well, I mean, a handful of us went to the village, I think, because a lot of the traders who were there that year have not returned. Just to fill you in a little bit on that, the reason for there being fewer market stalls and traders in 2022, as opposed to last time, is because of the weather, basically, in the placement of 2019. They were unhappy. I think, you know, if you were a trader in 2019, you would be legitimately unhappy about your sales that weekend because nobody went, because it was in a pretty poor position, which, you know, debatable as to who you want to blame or whatever. You know, if it had been a nice sunny weekend, maybe there wouldn't have been the trouble, but it is, so it was. And so
that's unfortunate, because I mean, it is easy to blame the weather. Why again, some of the traders obviously didn't get the trade that they were expecting, but at the same time, they can't put all the blame onto the organisers, considering the fact they can't control the weather.
Yeah, I did hear on the grapevine that whoever deals with that sort of side of things, they take no shit. So if you have a go at them, then you're not coming back next year. It's as simple as that. And so that might be why there was fewer people trading this year. Maybe. Complete speculation, but you know, who knows, really? I'm not pointing the finger at anybody in particular. But, you know, traders talk, especially when they're unhappy.
It is also, I think it is also common knowledge that Download charge quite a bit to allow traders to come onto site and trade. Really? So maybe that could be another reason why as well. Yeah, they've got to pay for the privilege of being able to trade at Download.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I imagine they pay Download, and whatever money they make is for themselves.
Yeah. Yeah. So a bit of an interesting drama behind the scenes, perhaps, but we'll never really know. Again, complete speculation. But in terms of what you would normally find in the village for entertainment, it is now the Crucible, which is the name for an area made out of shipping containers to create 2 stages, which are the doghouse stage and the side splitter stage, which would normally, as we would have had in history, be in tents. But no, they were completely surrounded, like it's sort of walls built out of containers. Quite small stages, actually. Quite small stages.
Yeah, maybe they looked a bit smaller, being sort of open air. But I imagine the setup of the stage is probably roughly the same as it would be if it was inside the tent. Mention the shipping containers again. I loved it. I thought the aesthetic of it was absolutely on point. And I really enjoyed it. I think I managed to get like a video or again almost like a panoramic shot of between 2 stages up by the above the bar, and I really enjoyed that. I thought it was a good move doing that.
It's given it quite an industrial type of feel, hasn't it?
Yeah, and I think with the sort of the music that comes to download, I think that fits in really well. My only negative comment about it would be, what if it had pissed down with rain? There was no cover.
Yeah.
Maybe they had planned for that. Maybe they had, or maybe thought, right, well, the weather is definitely saying it's not going to rain, or it's not going to rain heavy at all. I mean, we got a couple of spits and dribbles, but...
and then it rained.
But, I mean, 99% of the time, it was dry.
It was,
throughout the full 5 days.
Yeah, it didn't get going, did it?
We were lucky. But what if it had rained?
Yeah.
You'd have had a lot, and I mean a lot of unhappy customers that probably would have left quite quickly.
Well, you've got to, I mean, on the plus side, if it did rain, you wouldn't have had any mud, which is nice. But at the same time, it would have been raining and people are going to be looking for cover. And so where do you go? There's nowhere. In a regular... or in downloads past, you've got big tents, big tops, where you can go underneath and shelter for a few minutes while the rain passes. But there was really nothing. I can't think of anything. There was really nothing, was there? I can't think of anything.
Even in the arena, unless you were in the guest area, because there's a little bit of cover in the guest area. If in the arena, there was nothing.
So that's something that could improve.
Which was a massive gamble.
Yeah,
it paid off this year. Will it pay off next year? Download Festival's 20th year anniversary. It probably is going to rain.
I think they were really, I think they were really lucky with the weather this year. Really lucky, because it was glorious every day. I mean, if you had come to download without any, what are they called, antihistamines. The stuff for your hay fever. There were people with faces red as anything because you rub your eyes and all of that stuff, and that was unpleasant because again, like I'd said in previous podcasts, you're not expecting how much pollen there is in, if you live in a city and you're not used to the amount of pollen there is in the countryside. I mean, it might have been the Wednesday, the Thursday. My eyes were streaming every day, and I was taking 5 or 6 hay fever tablets. They were doing nothing.
Fucking hell. You know you're only meant to take 1 a day, right?
Yeah, I know. That's how desperate I was. Yeah, so I don't know what I'm going to do next time, because I've clearly got an issue there. Anyway. So the fairground was huge. There were I think there were a lot more fairground rides than there usually are. Different ones that I've actually never seen before as well. So that's interesting. Silcocks were there. Silcocks are there every year, with their fairground rides.
You've got to get a picture with your head in front of the sill, and it says Cox. Yeah, it's just it's obligatory. Yes. That was the word of the week, wasn't it? Obliged, obligated. That was the word of the week.
Yes, it was. There wasn't a wall of death though, which, if you're not familiar with the wall of death, is a sort of circular effort where a motorcyclist will ride around literally on the walls of the thing. Not that I've never seen it before. I saw it millions of times as a kid, but it wasn't there this year. Then there was the co-op, which we all love in the village. I don't think anyone's got any bad words about the co-op, have they?
No, I mean, I think people are expecting the prices to be what the prices are, so people don't really complain about that.
And it's not bad. It's like
no, I know your meal deal, your sandwich, your snacking, your drinks, $4.50.
Yeah,
I mean that could set you up for the day at least.
What would you say as a vegan going in the co-op? I think you had some words about the amount of plastic they were using.
So yeah, I mean, from an environmental standpoint, there was a lot of plastic and a lot of fruit wrapped in plastic, which bothers me in every supermarket. But, I mean, it is what it is.
That's just supermarkets, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And,
but there was a good selection. They had a lot to choose on. I think I reckon it must be the biggest, most well-stocked co-op at Download that I've ever seen.
They did really well. I mean, it was busy. It was always busy. From the minute they opened on the Wednesday till the Sunday, if I remember correctly, it was just busy all the time. And even at night, or at least during the whole day, they've got DJs in there. So everyone's fucking buzzing inside a co-op. I mean, could you imagine having a DJ in like your co-op on the corner?
Well, that'd be a reason to go in, wouldn't it?
Exactly.
But I never actually saw it close. Was it open the whole time?
I think it was. I think it shut at 3 o'clock.
Okay, no.
1 o'clock or 3 o'clock. But it was it was very rare that it was closed because people were going in to buy the beers because they sold slabs of beer, boxes of wine,
right?
Your snacks, your sweets.
They even had champagne in there.
They did, yeah. I've seen all your toiletries as well. See if you've got caught short one way or another.
Like literally anything that you wanted, you could get. Not literally anything. That's a stupid thing to say. But anything that you would reasonably need, they had. And
it's why we've touched on the subject a couple of times. You could go to Download with fuck all and buy it there.
Yeah.
If you were that way inclined, you could.
Just opposite was Fat Frank's, of course. Always a place to get your tent from, or your chairs, or literally anything. They were there, and they had, I think, a few neighbours who were also selling camping stuff, and Oxfam was there as usual, and who else was in the village there? There wasn't that much to choose from, were there? And they were quite spread out.
Yeah, there was like a big walkway with nothing in it at all before you got to the co-op and Fat Frank's and that. Like, I mean, I imagine there was definitely a legitimate reason for it, but it seems if they were quite far away from the main village. Fuck knows why. Whatever reason, it was obviously a legitimate and needed reason.
I feel like you could fit 2018's village and number of market stalls on the Tarmac Lake quite easily. With the number of traders on that Tarmac Lake would fill it up, I think. I just think it was the fewer people there.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I can't fault it.
No.
Apart from the cover, I couldn't fault it. I thought it was very well done, very well laid out. The amount of fairground rides they had, which we never go on. I always say when I go, oh yeah, I might give it a go this time, and never do.
No, well, I was looking at some of them, and they were quite big rides. Some of them, I'm past that now. I think, especially having worked in a theme park, I'm just a bit past it. I'm just past it. I'm past it. That's there. You go.
You just passed it now. Like everything in life, just past it.
Yeah, I've given up on everything. So yeah, it just doesn't really appeal to me, to be honest. I mean, if I'd had more drinks, then possibly you could have got me on some of those
I
things.
think it's probably the worst thing to go on, especially the waltzers. Fucking hell. Could you imagine me spun around like against your will on a waltzer while you've had like fucking, you sunk like 20 cans?
You would have looked like a sprinkler as you went round.
Yeah.
That's a bottom quote.
I was about to say the same thing then.
It was really actually very attractive. Rick Mail there.
Do you know what? Going off on a tangent, I love one of the stand-up with I think it's on the second live one they do. He can't get the fucking door to shut and he's slamming it. He's pointing at it like, you listen here, buddy. I'm Rick fucking Mail.
Close.
It gets me every time.
Oh, it's full of it's if you've not watched Bottom Live on YouTube, then you're missing a trick. There wasn't a massive amount of food to choose from, was there? We found, in fact, you had some noodles, didn't you?
I did. I panicked actually, like the day after. So Chinese noodles or Asian noodles are generally egg noodles. And in the drunken stupor that I was in, did not think about this. And I went fucking full blown, right, veggie noodles, couple of spring rolls, bosh. Happy days, that's dinner.
Bosh.
Woke up next day and was, oh fuck, they were egg noodles. Bugger.
What made you think of them?
I don't know. I think we was having a conversation about veganism at campsite, and it made me like, oh shit, I had egg noodles last night. Yeah. But whilst we were in the arena, I went to the same noodle place that was in the arena that was in the village, and it said all noodles are rice noodles. So I was like, yes.
Oh, because I was going to mention, didn't you have noodles at the Pilot as well? But they must have been okay.
I had noodles at the Pilot. I can't remember what I ate at the Pilot.
Oh God,
I remember I had the Big Mac. That was all down my front.
Yeah.
The burrito.
Because I remember there's a shot of you walking away from a noodles place or something.
Are you sure that's not the burritos?
I don't fucking know. It was a long time ago.
Pizza. But I remember eating pizza, burrito, and that Big Mac. That's about it.
But in terms of things to choose from, it wasn't as varied as the main arena was. There was tons in the arena to choose from, the usual stuff. But in the village, it was a little bit more sort of... I was expecting to see more, actually, than there actually was. There wasn't that much, was there?
No, and I mean... I can't think of an explanation for it. There just was...
There was no easy cheesy...
Which is always a good thing. No, there just wasn't... I mean, there was plenty to choose from, but there wasn't as much as maybe we're used to.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Because they seemed to pack out the village with the fairground rides.
Yeah, they did. There were a lot. Half of it was like fairground rides. Yeah. So, and again, there was no cinema this time around, despite the every effort going into trying to make it happen. It didn't happen because of logistical reasons, because of concrete things that they couldn't get or whatever. But they fully intended to do it. I have read actually that the Crucible where the stages were, it was quite close to Quiet Camp.
I knew this would come up. I mean, you looked at the map.
In fact, you said this, didn't you?
Yeah, you look at the map before the festival had happened, and you thought, is that really smart putting the village right next or right in front of the quiet camping area? It's not going to be quiet at all. I think maybe whether the quiet camp means there's a curfew on it, so everyone in that campsite needs to be quiet from like 11 or 12 o'clock, or it generally meant, no, you won't hear anything outside the campsite, which wasn't the case.
Oh, that's interesting, isn't it? What's the definition of quiet camp? Yeah.
Again, that'll be something that they will think about and they will correct next year.
I mean, when you think about it, quiet camp means people aren't going to be partying until 3 o'clock in the morning, doesn't it? If that's what you think of people
that's
like in Blue
That's
Camp.
one interpretation of it, yeah. But then at the same time, from doing Bloodstock and being in Bloodstock, the first time I did Bloodstock, we went into the quiet camping area, and we were not only were we away from the rabble of the party camp, we were away from all the noise from the main arena. So yeah, so it's like, you're right. What is the true definition for quiet camp? Is it curfew, so it's quieter in the evenings from campers, or is it a quiet and far away from any sort of noise like the village?
Yeah, it's. I do think it is a festival, so you're not going to have absolute quiet, but at the same time, sticking it next to the Crucible is a bit of a piss take. I think if I was camping next to the Crucible, which was going on until 3 o'clock in the morning with loud music, I think I'd be a bit pissed off as well. If you'd bought a ticket that says quiet camp on it, then I can understand why people are pissed off. Definitely. I mean, I'm laughing, and I should have more sympathy with the people who had to try and sleep next to the Crucible. Oh my God, can you imagine?
Well, apparently there were complaints from RIP campers that apparently the co-op DJ went until 3 a.m, and the corner of one of the RIP fields was almost right next to the co-op.
I mean,
there was a lot of complaints from noise from there as well.
Was it the co-op or was it the Crucible? I reckon it was more likely to be the Crucible, because is the co-op going to be louder than the Crucible?
Where RIP is, I'd imagine it was more co-op than the Crucible, because obviously the distance between them.
I didn't even think the co-op was that loud.
No, but obviously when we weren't really in that part of RIP, and
no,
we wouldn't have known what co-op was like at 3 a.m.
I reckon that was the Crucible, because for the Crucibles, they're not. I think that was the Crucible. I don't think it was the co-op myself. Because that seems bizarre that the co-op is having a fucking banging night, and then you've got the Crucible over there a bit quieter. I just think that's the wrong way around.
I can imagine that co-op and the DJ in the co-op going fucking nuts quite late and quite early in the morning.
Really? Like a stage?
Honestly, I really can see it, because the RIP was so close to it.
Okay. Well, who knows? We'll never know now, really. So with it's hard to go over the new village without talking about all the changes and our opinions about whether they were good or bad. There's a lot to digest with all the changes there, but I think we've managed to cover it all. There isn't that much substance. I mean, because I guess there wasn't that much there. I feel like it was a more empty village than we're used to. So we're mainly talking about the changes. But it was still, it was still a place to go and get pissed. There was places to sit down. There was places to enjoy yourself. You'd got the welfare tent in there, which we discovered.
Thank you to whomever the doctor was or the nurse was that decided to patch up my face. I very much appreciate that.
There was plenty of toilets actually there, and they didn't. I mean, I barely used them, to be honest, but they didn't look shitty. They looked quite all right to me.
Yeah, I think the ones that I used when I needed to use them weren't as bad as I've seen in the past.
Yeah, oh yeah, by a long stretch. And it was quite civilized and nice, really. You didn't really see many people lolling about in being absolutely pissed out of their face. It was quite civilized and nice. Trying to think if there's anything else that really stuck out to me, but I can't really. We had a good time. You had your face smashed in.
Worth it.
Yeah, you were happy, weren't you? You loved it.
Yeah. Because I was just happy to get back into the mosh pit for Red Method. Because again, I was at the barrier for Red Method as I was for Borders.
Yeah, and
they were fucking fantastic.
I mean, yeah. To be fair, they were brilliant. A great lineup of bands on the Bordy Takeover, and the crowd was loving it. In fact, the one thing I do want to talk about, which before I forget, is the fact that they did podcasts. on the Doghouse stage, which we watched and sort of tried to analyse, obviously with a keen eye on what we would do differently or what we liked. And I don't think it really worked because there wasn't much of an audience for it, to be honest. When you compare it to the bands who were on, there was always a massive audience for bands playing with loud music and moshing. But for podcasts, they sort of drifted away. I mean, the acoustics didn't help. You couldn't really hear what they were saying, which is a shame. And there wasn't much of a show to it. Essentially, they were all sat down in front of a desk chatting to each other with no sort of special flashbang wallop. It's not like watching a band. It's not like watching a band where you've got entertainment. They were all just sat there, just sort of going on to each other. And it wasn't very interesting, to be honest.
I mean, I on paper, I thought the idea was very intriguing. But yeah, like you said, it was very hard to hear because everybody else was talking around them. Like, the volume wasn't turned up that well because I think they found out quite quickly that with the volume up as loud as it could have gone, it would have reverberated off of the containers, making the sound worse.
Yeah. And it felt like a break between music because when they were on, we were all just talking to each other. Whereas when the band is on, everyone's watching the band. And so it didn't get the attention that I think they predicted.
Yeah, I mean, it was the podcasts are brilliant. The We Wear Black ladies and the Sapling podcast, they are popular for a reason. They are good podcasts. But maybe the idea of having podcasts at a festival in that sort of environment, personally, I don't think it worked as, like you said, I don't think it worked as well as they had thought it was going to. This isn't Sour Grapes before anybody likes to pipe up that we didn't get chosen to do it. It's not Sour Grapes at all. I think we would have done things differently if ever asked, but at the same time, I don't know about you, Neil, I probably would have said might pass on it and maybe another opportunity for something else could come up because
we were curious actually. We wanted to see what they were doing, but it wasn't. It's not the kind of thing. It's not appointment entertainment. You're not going to go, oh well, I like that podcast, so I'm definitely going to go and watch that. Because the thing is, it's not very entertaining to see people sat at a desk chatting. If you go up to a stage, you want to see some live entertainment. And the fact is that people sat around a desk chatting, it's not that entertaining, no matter how much you like the podcast. If they change, what you need to do for a podcast to work on a stage is do a stage show, not a podcast. I mean, fair enough if you record it and put it out as a podcast, but if you go up on stage and just talk to each other in very normal voices like this, it's, you know what I mean? It's not what you're at Download for.
So I'm just thinking in my head, like, what sort of things would we do if we ever got on a stage to do it?
Well, you've got to change the whole thing. You can't just have two of us sat here like this.
No, and that's the thing. That's what I'm thinking. Like, you wouldn't. Like, I don't think I'd want to be stood up doing it at all. I think I'd want to be walking around the stage and being loud and again having some like sort of interaction with the crowd, whether it be like them asking questions or us. Like, I mean, something just popped into my head. Obviously, with the sun being out as much as it was, like you shout out who's got sunscreen if you have it, and then you chuck out like little baby bottles of sunscreen at people. Like, just a bit of, I don't know. It's just like the first thing that popped into my head. Like
you've got to put a show on.
Yeah, like I mean, obviously watching Bottom live before going to Download, I had loads of ideas. Like we could just they were just. Again, doing like a live show, two people on stage being daft and actually sitting down behind a desk, not quite the entertainment that maybe they thought it was going to be.
Yeah, it wasn't really well thought through, I don't think, which is a shame because obviously we've an interest in podcasts being popular and well thought of. And so it's a shame that more wasn't sort of made of it. But I think if you're doing a podcast like this and you're suddenly asked to put it on stage, then you're going to think, oh, well, we've been asked to do that because of what we do here. So let's just do that on stage. And it doesn't work like that. You've got to be entertaining. You've got to make an impression on the audience. You've got to get their attention. You've got to be interesting rather than just sat there with doing your usual shtick. It's got to be something different. That's my 2 pence, and that's why I won't be watching it again. But otherwise, The Village, I approve of.
Yeah, if I had to rate The Village, it'd get a strong 8 out of 10 for me.
Yes, I agree. I agree with you. So get in touch with us about your thoughts on The Village. Do you agree with us? Do you disagree? We are all over the socials. Just search for Festpod. If you have a comment on YouTube, just give us a comment and underneath there, just underneath the video there, and tell us what you think. I'm still having to try and get used to us being on YouTube. It's a bit weird that a podcast is on YouTube, but this is what's happening now. This is what, the direction everybody's going in, so we have to be there too.
I also thought, actually, the videos that we did, I thought worked quite well. Yes, obviously we were in company of each other, and obviously we were able to see each other, but I thought videos worked quite well. And it'd be nice maybe one day if we could go in that direction.
Yes, well, who knows?
Exactly.
Who knows? I'm skint at the moment, so save up for a camera. So next up, we are going to find out what's coming out of your mouths on social media. In this section, we've got some of your replies to our question online when we asked what were your highlights of Download Festival 2022, and there were quite a few, so we're going to read a few out for you this time. James Wilkinson, who I met and had a selfie with. Hello, James. So he says, Steel Panther bringing Ozzy on stage. What?
I don't think that's real. Did you watch Steel Panther?
I didn't see them, no.
No. I'm not sure. I'm not sure that's.
It must have been a lookalike.
Yeah, because I believe Susan Cook has replied back saying it was so scarily accurate. So I imagine it was someone in Get Up acting as Ozzy. James did reply again with I believe a serious answer.
Right. Okay.
Moshing at Korn.
Oh, you did
Those
that.
Damn Crows and Biffy. Don't care what haters say, their set was awesome. Which is a very, very, very nice comment. Moshing at Korn. I probably saw you.
You're probably next to him.
Probably depending on where you were in the crowd, I probably saw you because I was right by the barrier, right up front in the centre for Korn.
Yeah.
That was definitely one of my highlights as well.
Scott Griffiths says, Spirit Box. They really should have been placed on a bigger stage. I agree with you there, Scott. You could not get in for love nor money if you weren't there half an hour before. It sounded great, but I could not see a thing. I was outside.
We managed to get in, and we got in about 15, 20 minutes early.
Oh, did you?
And we were stood behind one of the back pillars.
Oh,
so we only just managed to get a good view. But they were, that again, another highlight for me was Spirit Box. They fucking smashed it. They should have been on a bigger stage. They should have got more. They should have had a bigger, better slot. But they were fucking brilliant. And as all the not critics, whomever writes the magazines and whoever obviously does the reviews and stuff have all said, they've really established themselves in the UK with that show, and I totally agree. They're definitely one for the future. Keep your eyes peeled.
Eden Rose says, Those Damn Crows were an absolute highlight for me.
I'm seeing Those Damn Crows a lot in this comment section. Wasn't one that tickled me pickled for me to go and see, but it's good to see a name of a band like that constantly being repeated.
You like having your pickle tickled, don't you?
Do you know what? It does. It is a lot of fun. Andy Tuna Groves, again, also mentions Those Damn Crows, as well as Korn, Maiden, A Day to Remember, Grandson, The Fame, and The Ingester.
Oh, you've seen a lot of those, haven't you, as well?
Korn, Obs. Grandson, I saw. I thought he was fucking a brilliant artist. The Fame, they were a good pop punk act. The Ingester, I've heard of The Ingester. They clashed with Wargasm on the Sunday and was very intrigued to see them, but I chose Wargasm instead. I'd honestly put them as, again, another sort of like Slipknot type large band act. They are very good. I would definitely recommend seeing them if you get a chance.
Did you see A Day to Remember?
I didn't. No,
You didn't? Oh, okay.
I'm not a fan of. I'm not a huge fan of A Day to Remember. The only song that I could name of theirs, I can't even name the song. There was a meme that went round just as the pandemic kicked off. Basically, the meme was disinfect your surroundings.
Oh yeah,
in a metalcore sort of guttural growls.
Disinfect your surroundings.
Exactly. Well done.
Thank you.
Well done. But yeah, obviously the lyrics are disrespect your surroundings, not disinfect.
Just in case you weren't sure about that.
Of course. That was a great meme. That's the only track that I could actually put my finger on with The Day to Remember. Yeah. He finishes the comment off actually saying, the last one was so early and clearly unknown that I was easily at the barrier, which is the first time I've managed to download.
Is that Ingester?
Ingester, yeah. Fair play. Because being at the barrier for any gig is an experience. So that's definitely a highlight worth mentioning for some people.
Laura Gordon, who was who was a guest on one of our podcasts at Download, says bands-wise, Biffy, ADTR, Holding Absence, Cassiette, who I didn't.
Do you know who ADTR are?
A Day to Remember.
Yeah, no, I thought you'd say it instead of using the abbreviation, but fair enough.
That's what she's right. But I also loved The Weather being back at a full-size Download and Our Camp. Yes.
Our Camp was a highlight. I did thoroughly enjoy that as well.
Everyone was lovely. Everyone was so nice.
There wasn't a bad person in our campsite. There wasn't. Do you know what? I'm kind of becoming paranoid now. You know, when you're in a situation with people, and there's always one dickhead. Right? And this time, there was no dickheads.
Wasn't it nice not to have a dickhead there?
Was I the dickhead in the crowd? I hope
not. Yeah, I wish we could have spent more time with them, actually. But we're quite used to going off and doing our own thing, and I think they were quite a tight friendship group already. And so they probably noticed our absence a bit, and I think they probably would have appreciated us to sort of get to know them a bit more. But I think we sort of got there in the end, and had a lovely chat every day, and was friendly with everybody. So yeah, absolutely, our camp was really nice.
It was. Mother of Mayhem. Now, I speak to this person, Lauren, thank you. Sorry, I just had to double check that I knew her name. I speak to Lauren quite regularly and her partner on Instagram. The three of us, we do talk regularly on Instagram. I'm glad that she's left a comment as well. I was really looking forward to Biffy, and they were incredible. Never doubted them. I love them. However, for me, the headliner highlight had to be Kiss. They were amazing. Skindred were also brilliant, as always. Non-headliner highlight for me, though, was A Day to Remember and Volbeat. ADTR. And Korn. Just all of it.
Yeah. I think that's just being happy to be back, isn't it? Happy to be back at Download and seeing it all again. Because we do miss it. This is why I think we get so much. Download blues is a thing. You suffer with your download blues when you come back, and I think we all get a bit of that, don't we? So that accounts for us being perhaps a little bit. I don't know. I think in this episode we're perhaps a bit we're not as excitable as last time that we were here because we were looking forward to the festival. But I think you, especially because you've suffered a little bit with it, haven't you? And it's
yeah. I mean, it's been I've been exhausted for the last 3 weeks, and I mean. So, I mean, a little bit of a personal life thing. So, in the mornings, the dog wakes me up at 5:30 every morning, jumps on the bed, gives a sniff, and makes me up to take him for a walk. And I've missed his wake-up calls.
Yeah.
I'm that tired now that I've literally I've slept through his wake-up calls.
Wow.
And he's sat at the end of the bed waiting for me, and I'm not waking up till about 6:30 to wake up and take him for walks. And I hate doing it because I love taking him for a walk early in the morning. It is a highlight of my day. And just from how exhausted I've been, I've missed it a few times in the last few weeks. And if you, that's just how tired I am.
Yeah. Fucking hell. Yeah. Yeah. In reply, oh no, actually it's the same person. Did you say K-Finity 91?
I didn't know. The last one I spoke of was Lauren or Mother of Mayhem.
Have I done something weird here? Oh, I have.
No. Carl Finity is there. Just no one spoke. No, we haven't mentioned him yet or them yet. Sorry,
them. Carl Finity. It doesn't say Carl Finity. It actually says K-Finity 91. A Day to Remember, ADTR, were my band of the weekend. Wow. Kiss were awesome, and the crowd for Spirit Box was incredible. Yes.
Yes, we were. Yes,
I wish I'd bloody seen it. I couldn't get in. But the real highlight, the weather. How good was it to have the sun all weekend? Yes. Oh, my God. I mean, a dry download, it's almost unheard of. I mean, the only one I can really think of that was as dry, was it 18?
2018. Yeah, 2018 was quite dry and it was really hot, actually. I remember I actually had to douse my hoodie in water and basically cover myself up from the sun because I didn't have any cream either. But
oh God, you Berkeley
so
hunts.
I had to literally douse my hoodie in cold water, cover up, and it was dry within minutes.
Oh right, wow. And it was I remember it being a very sandy year as well. Lots of flying sand around for some reason. Lots of sand everywhere.
Dusty, yeah. It can get like that if it's been dry for too long.
And then he says, "Oh, and Creeper." Who I didn't see actually, but that's nice. Then we've got Gareth Walker 83. It's a good year, cracking year. Korn were outstanding. There's been a lot of love for Korn, hasn't there?
Yes, they were. Because again, I think a lot of people forget how good Korn are live. Like, I mean, we had the discussion about Korn in camp. That we don't think they'll ever make it to the headline status at Download because they should have had their slot years ago. They haven't done anything groundbreaking for years. Blah 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 blah. Since 1994, they've got about 16 albums.
Fucking hell. Okay.
Yeah, no, they do. But
do they do them live?
As in what? Do they tour live shows? Or
yeah. Do they do album tours?
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, they're always touring. They're always doing albums. They're always constantly busy.
Okay.
And I think over the pandemic, and with the last few albums, like I said, not being groundbreaking, people forget how good Korn are live and how good their old stuff and the stuff they play live really is. They made variations of their songs in this set that I'd never heard before.
Oh, did they?
They played Adidas. All Day Dream About Sex, which is a fucking brilliant track, and I don't think I've ever heard them play it live. Wow. So to hear it at Download, it was amazing. I'm screaming at the top of my voice, All Day Dream About Sex, not just because it's true, just because it's a fantastic track.
I don't hear you talk about Korn albums. I don't think I've ever heard you talk about Korn albums before.
Look, we're coming towards the end of the podcast now. You've asked me at the wrong time to talk about Korn
really?
albums.
Okay. Mm-hmm. All right, okay. Maybe next time then.
Maybe. we're gonna need a good 4 or 5 hours to do that.
Oh yeah, I forget how much you love Korn actually, and how much you have to say about them. So yeah.
Well, it's either Korn or Envisions, and Envisions have only got 3 albums. That's the first time I mentioned Envisions this week, this time around. How could I forget?
Do you know what? We haven't mentioned Sleep Token either.
No, I know. They were fucking brilliant. That's another one of my highlights. They were fucking fantastic. Yeah. Dave and I were about 6 deep near the barrier. They were fantastic.
Yeah. And our last comment for this time around, Inexorable 73. His favourites were Skillet, Kiss, and Maiden. Maiden have got a lot of love as well, I've noticed.
Yeah, they apparently. Obviously, for you, I mean, you've seen Maiden, so you weren't like too enthused to see them. I had obviously gone back to get a hoodie and then didn't come back.
Oh, you didn't see Maiden?
No, I've never seen Iron Maiden. I can still say to this day, I've never seen Iron Maiden.
You didn't even see a second of it. You weren't there.
No.
Oh my God.
The minute the funeral for a friend finished, I said to myself, I'm going to go get a hoodie and I'm going to come back because it's going to get cold. And I never came back. I fell asleep.
So funny, because you were even talking about how you'd like to see Maiden because you never had.
I do want to see Maiden. I just sleep. My punctured airbed was calling my name.
Oh, you slept on. Oh, you were slept on the ground, weren't you? Really? Well, on your flatbed.
I was, yes. I came back from download with a massive bruise on my hip.
Oh my God! You don't have much luck, do you, when it comes to beds? Camping beds.
Because even in 2018, Dave actually bought me a new airbed at the festival because the one I had popped.
Oh my God! Did you bring any gaffer tape?
In hindsight, maybe I should have done to try and find the puncture, but no.
No. Oh, well, you're a bit drunk anyway to sort that out, weren't you?
Yes, I was very drunk.
Well, thank you so much for all your replies to our question, what were your highlights of Download 2022? We've enjoyed reading them all. We will have another question for next episode. We want to know who you would pick as your 4 headliners for 2023, because there are going to be 4. So have a look on our socials, Festpod, to find that post and post your 4 headliners, and we might read yours out on the next episode. So that's it. We'll be back next month, and until then, we'll see you on the socials. Like I say, just search for Festpod, or go to festpod.co.uk for the rest of the episodes if you haven't got us on your podcast app already. Take a look at us on YouTube and give us a like and a subscribe as well while you're there. And if you do want any merch, there is still merch available. So if you have a look on the socials, there'll be a post on there on how to find us. It's just Etsy. Just search for Festpod. Etsy is one of those marketplace type websites where people sell stuff. So we've got one. Just go to Festpod. You can have a look at the patches that we've got, which are actually real. In fact, you've got a patch now, haven't you?
I do, yeah. You gave me a patch, a download. I now have a mug, a patch, and a long sleeve T-shirt. And yes. I love the long sleeve T-shirt.
Oh, do you really?
I do, yeah. I think that the design that we put together for it is a very festival metal type long sleeve T-shirt. So I'm quite proud of that one.
Yeah, because it was partly your design as well, wasn't it?
Well, I don't mean to show off, but yeah.
But we're not currently, as I record this, selling the T-shirts at the moment. We're giving away. We're not giving away. We're selling mugs and patches, but the T-shirts are coming. We have T-shirts on the way. So if you're listening on a thing that you can give us a review on, please do that. 5 stars. Thanks very much. Because it helps people find us. But that's it for this time around, and we'll catch you next time. Bye. A Wilco Productions podcast.
The Venga bus is coming.